We have to stop on a temporary basis, at least, but we have to stop people from pouring into our country. We have to stop it. Until we find out what the hell is going on. And we can do that. But we have to have people come in that cherish us, that love us, that want to love us, that want to do things that don't want to destroy us, that don't want to go to a club where you have innocent people and where you had no guns on the other side. By the way, I'm going to save your Second Amendment, okay? I'm going to save your Second Amendment. If some of those great people that were in that club that night had guns strapped to their waist or strapped to their ankle, and if the bullets were going in the other direction, aimed at this guy who was just open target practice, you would have had a situation, folks, which would have been always horrible, but nothing like the carnage that we all, as a people, suffered this weekend. Nothing. And a lot of people aren't realizing this. You know, you take a look at Paris. Paris has, they say, the toughest gun laws in the world. France, generally speaking, the toughest in the world. And these thugs walked in. They used to call them the press masterminds. I said, you can't call them masterminds. That's why the young kids are joining. They're joining ISIS. They want to be a mastermind. But thugs, these thugs, I call them the guy with the dirty white cap. The thugs walked in to different places. Boom, 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 boom. There was nobody with gun, nobody on the other side. There was nobody could do anything. And they got killed, 130 people killed, viciously killed. Hundreds still in the hospital with the most horrible injuries. And now we have the same thing in Orlando. And then last night you had a police officer and his wife were killed the same way. And he put it over Facebook. The killer put it on Facebook. Same kind of a thing. And it's happening all over. And it's getting worse. And it's going to continue to get worse until they respect us, folks. They've got to respect us. They have no respect for us whatsoever. We're trying to be nice. We have a president who wants to be so politically correct that he doesn't want to use the term radical Islamic terrorism. Doesn't want to use it. He gives a speech yesterday, a long speech that at the end of it, nobody knew what the hell he was talking about. Nobody knew. He's trying to justify why he won't use, and he said radical Islam, because he didn't want to use the word terrorism, if you notice. Why he won't use that term or why he doesn't use it and how it doesn't make any difference, but it does make a difference. It makes a difference, and it makes a big difference, because unless you're willing to discuss and talk about the real nature of the problem and the name of the problem, radical Islamic terrorism, you're never going to solve the problem. And then crooked Hillary Clinton gets up the other day, and she wouldn't use the term. She wouldn't use it. But I was hitting her hard on it, very hard. And finally she gets up, and she said, I would use it. She, you know, and by the way, the press didn't report this. They said she used the term. They didn't say about Trump, many of them. Some of them are fair, but many of them, most of them are very dishonest. It's very hard to get the word out, I'm telling you. It's very hard to get the accurate word out, because I made a speech yesterday in North Carolina. We got standing ovations, a packed house. I go back, and they're talking about the speech. It like had nothing to do with what I was even talking about. They are the worst, believe me. But Hillary Clinton gets up, and she sort of acted like no problem using the term. And she said, I would use the term, but she didn't use it. But she didn't call it radical Islamic terrorism. She said radical Islamism. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Let's see how much she uses it. You know, she'll basically do whatever Obama wants her to do. You understand why, because that whole thing is just ridiculous what's going on there. That's just ridiculous. How that can happen in our country today is absolutely one of the great insults to law enforcement. And let's see what happens. But she's being totally protected. She's being 100% protected. Now, maybe we'll all be surprised. And maybe our laws will work the way they're supposed to work. But you know what, folks? I think if something was going to happen on the crimes that have been committed, I would have assumed it would have happened already, don't you think? Don't you think? So let's see what happens. But when you get right down and you look at it, we have got to be respected. We don't have to be liked so much. We have to be respected. I don't want to be feared. You could take it another step. Fear, it's not fear. We have to be respected. We're not respected by these people. They come into our country, they want to take it over. Now, look at what's happening in Germany, a catastrophe. I have friends from Germany that for 20 years have been telling me how great Germany is, what a great place to live. Some of these people are leaving the country now. They're leaving. Their crime rate is through the roof. Things are happening that are horrendous. And you see what's happening to women. You see what's happening all over Germany now. It was a horrific mistake. It was a terrible mistake. Now, they'll say it wasn't. It's wonderful. You build, as I said, and if Germany had it to do again, I don't think that she would ever admit it. And let's see how she does in the next election, assuming there's going to be an election and she's going to run. But if Germany had it to do again, I'm sure they would have put up billions of dollars to do just as I said. Safe zones in Syria, make them nice. Anything's cheaper and anything's better than what's going on now in Germany and other countries. So Belgium is a beautiful city and an amazing place, magnificent buildings. I was there many, many years ago, and I had always this incredible image. And a number of months ago, I made the statement, something to the effect, Belgium's a hellhole. And I was badly criticized. They said, what a terrible thing. And then they had the massive problem in Belgium. And people said, Trump was right. Trump was right. I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. But you look at what's going on in Paris. You look at what's going on in different places, all over, different places. You know it. I know it. They know it. They don't want to talk about it. We don't want to have these problems. And we've already got them. Look at this weekend. We don't want to have these problems. So what I'm saying is it's a temporary ban, in particular for certain people coming from certain horrible, where you have tremendous terrorism in the world. You know what those places are. But we have to put a stop to it. We have to put a stop to it until such time as we can figure out what is going on. Because right now, we don't have a clue what's going on, folks. We don't have a clue. We don't know even a little bit what's going on. And we have to be the smart country now. We've been the dummies for too long. We have to be the smart. We have to be the brilliant country. We have to show, and we have to help, and we have to take care of people, but we have to be smart. With the kind of money that we owe, $19 trillion, going to $21 trillion very shortly because of the omnibus budget that was passed, going to $21 trillion, we can't be doing this. And this isn't even the money. This is beyond the money. Because even if you had a small percentage of people coming in thinking like this person, who again was born here, but his parents weren't, and his ideas weren't born here. His ideas were born from someplace else. And in speaking to numerous governors over the last few days, really